Hello there, I'm Nadia Azmi and this is Nightline. Here are the top stories. 50 tons of ammunition waste uncovered at illegal e-waste processing factory. And Prime Minister orders timely completion of all people's housing projects. Good morning. Authorities made a shocking discovery in Teluk Panglima Garang, Selangor, uncovering 50 tons of bullet casings, spent ammunition and live rounds suspected to have been smuggled into the country for illegal processing. The raid, conducted by the General Operations Force (GOF) and the Department of Environment (DOE), was part of a nationwide joint operation targeting 47 e-waste processing premises. The operation, dubbed Op Hazard, was launched simultaneously across 11 states at around 9 a.m. on Saturday, involving over 750 personnel from the GOF, DOE and local authorities. Checks at the Teluk Panglima Garang factory revealed 50 sacks, each weighing approximately 1 ton, containing bullet components believed to have originated from abroad. Hundreds of sacks containing illegally processed e-waste were also discovered. Investigations are now underway to determine the source of the ammunition waste. Bukit Aman Internal Security and Public Order Department KDNKA Deputy Director Datuk Muhammad Suzrin Muhammad Rodi stated that the premises has been operating illegally for the past 2 years, recycling e-waste without a valid permit. The factory also did not have a license to dismantle or melt ammunition waste, which are classified as explosive materials, making it an offence.
Anak peluru tu timah, kelonsong tu daripada tembaga. Dia akan dibakar, diasingkan dalam bentuk jongkong. Kemudian sama ada diproses kembali ataupun dihantar kepada third party. Itu pun kita tengah siasat.
Some 80 foreign workers, along with 2 locals believed to be the caretakers of the premises, were detained for further investigation. The offences identified fall under the Environmental Quality Act and the Immigration Act. In addition to this factory, 4 other premises in Selangor were also raided. Meanwhile, initial investigations by the DOE found that the premises were carrying out hazardous smelting of e-waste and ammunition. This process resulted in the open release of toxic gases, posing a health risk to nearby residents.
Makluman awal daripada pegawai-pegawai di lapangan, kita dapati premis tidak mempunyai alat kawalan semasa menjalankan peleburan. Jadi dia membakar secara terbuka dan menggunakan dapur yang terbuka dan pelepasan gas yang berbahaya kemungkinan berlaku.
Inspections also revealed that the scheduled waste at the premises had been imported from abroad. This violates the amended Section 34B of the Environmental Quality Act, which prohibits the importation of scheduled e-waste without approval from the DOE. Now, an environmental activist has emphasized that e-waste must be processed and disposed of correctly in order to protect the environment as well as the public. Econite's Vice President Amlir Ayat believes that collaborations between government agencies are crucial in tackling this issue.
We need to highlight the licensed recyclers so that we can be sure that these e-waste are treated and recycled in the most environmentally manner. The Department of Environment and also the National Solid Waste Management Department, the JPSN, can formally collaborate to create mandatory e-waste collection by state and local authorities and to send them to the sorted e-waste collection and treatment of their products when they reach the end of their life. So these are some of the things that can be done.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has instructed that all housing projects for the people be implemented immediately upon approval and completed on schedule. He has also called on the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC to monitor these projects to prevent any mismanagement or leakages.
Percepatkan. Kita dah setuju. Nak tangguh apa lagi? Ada masalah, selesaikan. Sebab tu bila saya buat perumahan madani di Kuala Lumpur, saya bagi contoh dalam 40 hari. Saya bagi tetap. Sebab if everything is in order, jangan delay.
Anwar said this in his speech at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Harmoni Madani People's Residency Program PRR project in Bestari Jaya, Kuala Selangor on Saturday. He added that he does not want any elements of corruption in the construction of housing projects, as it would ultimately impact the overall cost, particularly those aimed at lower income groups. He also expressed hope that the PRR Bestari Jaya project would be used as a model for state-government collaboration in developing workers' housing. In a separate development, Anwar has challenged former leaders to surrender half of their wealth if they are truly sincere in helping the people. This, he said, was because some of them, during their time in office, amassed wealth for their own benefit.
Yang hero kaya, yang sokong itu miskin. Sebab itu saya mau selalu ingatkan, jangan kena tipu. Orang yang banyak-banyak jerit di atas tu banyak kaya. Masa ada kuasa sakau sana, komisen sini, beli tanah, beli harta di Australia, beli di London. Kemudian balik kampung, oh kita kena jaga ini negeri Melayu. Tengok dia punya harta, bila isytihar, anak saja 1 bilion.
Anwar also criticised the previous administration for delays in projects concerning the people's well-being. He said such projects included housing for lower-income groups and the ceiling price of rice, both of which had shown no progress despite several ministerial changes. He added that while the current government is not perfect, steps are being taken to address these issues. On another matter, Anwar said he will leave it to the party to decide whether the positions of PKR President and Deputy President will be contested in the party elections this May.
Tak ada ini, mereka putuskan, saya tak campur. Dia demokrasi, nak bertanding, tak bertanding.
Previously, PKR International Bureau Chairman Datuk Seri Shamsul Iskandar Akin was reported to have said there is a possibility that the top 2 posts might not be contested in the party elections. PKR has scheduled elections for its Leadership Council, Women's Leadership Council and Youth Leadership Council on May 24th. A 53-year-old unemployed man believed to be the suspect in the murder of an online food seller in Kuantan, Pahang last Thursday has been remanded for a week to assist police investigations into the case. District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Wan Muhammad Zahari Wan Busu said the suspect was arrested in Terengganu at about 5:30 a.m. on Saturday. The suspect was detained in the Wakaf Tembusu Gong Badak residential area in Kuala Terengganu before being brought to the Kuantan Magistrates Court for the remand process at 2:30 p.m. Following his arrest, police recovered a ring belonging to the victim. Another piece of the victim's jewellery, a gold bracelet, is believed to have been sold by the suspect in Terengganu. Cash, clothing and documents were also seized from the suspect to assist in the investigation. The post-mortem examination determined that the victim died from blunt force trauma to the head and drowning. No evidence of sexual assault was found on the victim. It was previously reported that the body of 37-year-old Nur Shamira Zainal was found by the riverbank near the Tanjung Lumpur Bridge on Thursday after she failed to return home the night before. The victim was believed to have gone to the location for a cash-on-delivery transaction before she was found murdered. Now, Nur Shamira's murder has sent shockwaves, raising concerns for the safety of working women and prompting calls for stronger security measures and swift justice. Chairman of the Alliance for a Safe Community, Tan Sri Lee Lam Thai, believes that the incident must be taken seriously as it involves public safety and suggests preventative steps that should be taken by both the authorities and members of the public to prevent similar.
I'm of the opinion that the occurrence of crime is a reminder that the people must never take their safety for granted. One very important thing is for the local authority to set up as many CCTVs as possible, especially in crime-prone areas. And having CCTV will be able to help the police to be able to identify, the suspect and also to take the necessary action. The public must always be vigilant at all time to be aware of the surroundings and also the people whom they contact with. It is a matter that must be viewed very seriously by every law-abiding citizen in the country.
Drugs worth 23.67 million ringgit were seized by police during a raid on a terraced house in Bandar Seri Damansara, Petaling Jaya last Tuesday. 3 men aged between 41 and 58 who served as caretakers of the premises and runners for a drug trafficking syndicate were also arrested in the operation, which took place at around 11:20 a.m. Bukit Aman Narcotics Crime Investigation Department NCID Director Datuk Seri Kok Kok Chin stated that during the raid, police discovered over 576 kilograms of shabu and ketamine concealed in hundreds of Chinese tea packages inside the house and a multi-purpose vehicle MPV parked within the compound. The total seizure was sufficient to supply approximately 2.4 million drug users.
Pada penjaga stor dia sebagai runner, dia dibayar RM50, 50,000 RM 50,000 daripada ketua sindiket bagi urusan pengambilan, sebab ada yang hantar dia ambil, dan untuk penghantaran stok gada.
Police also seized 4 vehicles, including 2 luxury cars, a luxury watch, and over 163,000 ringgit in cash. Based on initial investigations, the syndicate had been active since late 2023 and was using the rented house as a storage facility before distributing the drugs locally and abroad. All 3 suspects have been remanded for 7 days from Wednesday to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. In Kuala Lumpur, 9,000 students in the Titiwangsa Parliamentary Constituency received school aid through the Back to School program organised by Yayasan Bina Nusa. The distribution of cash assistance and school bags under the program resumed on Saturday in Kampung Baru, benefiting over 1,000 recipients. The distribution of the school aid took place at a hall at the Kampung Baru Jamit Mosque and was officiated by Plantation and Commodities Minister, who is also the Titiwangsa Member of Parliament, Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani. The annual program aims to assist students from underprivileged families in preparing for the upcoming school term while also easing the financial burden on their parents.
Dapat sumbangan ni beban saya kurang sikit lah. Kan? Tidak ada beban apa semua kan. Apa-apa pun terima kasih kepada Datuk Jo. Saya harap tahun-tahun akan datang teruskanlah perjuangan Datuk Jo di sini.
Beli beg ke buku-buku sekolah ke apa, sumbangan itu bolehlah berguna untuk kita. Untuk belikan anak dia buku ke apa. Sebab benda duit-duit lain tu memang ada tapi sekarang harga buku tu tinggi sikit. Jadi sumbangan ni lebih membantu kita lah.
Dapatlah membantu sedikit untuk beli peralatan sekolah. Yang daripada sekolah pun kita dapat juga. Dapatlah meringankan beban ibu bapa.
The aid was also distributed to those in the Pandan zone last week, while those in Kramat zone would receive it on Sunday. The government will present a review of the provisions under the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012, SOSMA, in Parliament next week. Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution said that the ministerial statements on the Act will focus on the principles of justice, balancing national security and individual human rights. Saifuddin explained that the debate will discuss the way forward for the Act while also considering the need to retain certain provisions to address organised crime and extremism.
Sudah sampai masanya untuk kerajaan teliti balik secara khusus misalnya Seksyen 13 yang berkaitan dengan bail. Ya, dia ada bailable, unbailable, non-bailable. Dia banyak.
Saifuddin said this to the media after attending an event in Georgetown, Pulau Pinang on Saturday. He added that SOSMA is seen as a suitable law for dealing with extraordinary cases, including heinous crimes or acts of violence that threaten national security and public order. On Friday, Unity Government spokesman Fahmi Fadil said the government would review and reassess SOSMA following a directive from Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. The 4 finalists of Kalpis Soda 1 in a Million made their first public appearance to meet fans following the reality show's grand finale last Sunday. Mary Grace, Kai Deva, Jimmy and Zazlin took time to show their appreciation to fans at the Malam Fizz and Chill event in the capital on Friday. Despite recently winning Kalpis Soda OIAM, Mary Grace from Kuningan, Sabah aspires to create music that reflects the identity of her hometown.
Kalau strategi Mary pada masa panjang, Mary planning untuk teruskan buat lagu, teruskan berkarya. Mungkin Mary tidak sabar mau dapat lagu daripada Ade Govinda ni sekarang. One of my top list yang Mary kena ada juga satu lagu Sabah. Satu pun cukup lah. Sebab Sabah ni macam home Mary.
Mary Grace was crowned champion after receiving positive feedback from the permanent judges, Datuk Yusri Abdul Halim, Ziana Zain and Chakra Khan, alongside guest judges Nicholas Saputra and Faisal Tahir. She took home the grand prize of 1 million ringgit, which included a luxury car, 500,000 ringgit in cash, a recording contract with Alternate Records, and a new song to be composed and produced by Indonesian musician Ade Govinda. Meanwhile, all 4 finalists acknowledged that Kalpis Soda OIAM has been a valuable platform for expanding their careers in the music industry.
Platform ni membantu daripada segi dia bagi kita knowledge baru. Macam mana kita nak berada di atas pentas besar dan exposure kita. So, dia banyak membantu saya pengalaman. So, supaya saya bila keluar nanti, saya boleh pergi lebih jauh, lebih luas lagi dengan apa yang saya dah bawa daripada Kalpis Soda 1 million ni.
The return of Kalpis Soda OIAM after 15 years has created a phenomenon trending on X for 8 consecutive weeks and reaching 2 billion engagements on social media. It also became the most watched program, garnering 4.5 million views. Kawasaki kick off 2025 campaign in style. Actions from the J-League after this breather.
Kalau semua ejen dah pakai Iris, Mata perlukan saya lagi ke?
Kenapa semangat sangat nak kerja aku sampai sini?
Semua rimau aku serang, aku masih boleh tendang. Kalau nampak jangan jengang, kalau kacau benang kami nanti dengar gendang perang. Lepas lawan yang di sini, lawan yang sebelah. Kita jaga kita.
Rasa sakit, kebas dan pergerakan anggota badan terbatas.
Saraf dia tersepit, dia tak dapat menghantar isyarat dari otak ke bahagian badan.
Itu antara tandanya berlaku himpitan pada saraf.
Saraf tunjang kita terdiri daripada semua saraf yang mengawal semua fungsi dalam badan. So kalau saraf yang mengawal fungsi kencing terhimpit, dia boleh menyebabkan masalah ini.
Saraf tersepit, kami bawakan dalam Hello Doktor, Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui itu. We're back with sports football. Newly elected FA of Malaysia, FAM President Datuk Johari Muhammad Ayub is ready to take the bull by the horns dealing with the dire state of the Malaysian football. He made it clear that restructuring both the M-League and FAM itself will be his top priority. Johari, who took over from Tan Sri Hamidin Muhammad Amin, acknowledged the challenges ahead but expressed confidence in his new leadership team. At the core of his agenda is the need to overhaul the M-League, which has been plagued by financial instability, unpaid salaries and a declining competitive standard.
Keadaan dalam Malaysian Football League sekarang ini dia tidak seberapa sehat. So kita ini salah satu plan yang utama yang kita akan lihat dan pastikan untuk kerjasama dengan MFL, untuk pastikan untuk kembali ke memperbaiki kita punya liga yang ada sekarang.
Johari hinted at a larger restructuring within FAM, including changes to the national team setup. However, he admitted that these changes will take time. Still on football, the J-League. Kawasaki Frontale kicked off the 2025 campaign with a rousing start, trouncing Nagoya Grampus 4-0 at home on Saturday. After a goalless first half, the hosts upped their tempo and broke the deadlock in the 58th minute with Kota Takai's towering header. Shin Yamada then doubled their lead 9 minutes later, finishing off Sota Miura's perfect delivery with a simple tap-in. Hinata Yamauchi then added to the visitors' misery by scoring the third in the 79th minute. Before Ten Miyagi rounded off the 4-0 victory for Kawasaki 8 minutes later with a brilliant backheel finish. The result sees the four-time champions sit on top of the table on better goal difference. Saudi Pro League now. Al Hilal's push to reclaim the top spot suffered another setback as they were held to a 1-1 draw at home by Al Riyadh on Friday. Despite the visitors' goal in the 23rd minute being ruled out by VAR, Al Riyadh forward Mohamed Konate struck again just before the interval to give the visitors the lead. The hosts responded quickly after the restart, and the breakthrough finally came in the 60th minute when Salem Al-Dawsari found himself unmarked and curled the ball beautifully around Al Riyadh's goalkeeper Milan Borhan. The 1-1 scoreline remained until the final whistle despite Al Hilal pressed for a late winner. With their second consecutive league draw, Al Hilal remain in second place with 48 points, trailing leaders Al Ittihad by just 1 point. Turning to tennis, the Open 13 province, top seed Daniil Medvedev eased into the semi-finals with a straightforward win over Jan-Lennard Struff in Marseille on Friday. Medvedev had a slow start to the match but went on to save all 5 breakpoint opportunities to clinch a dominant 6-3, 6-2 win. Next up for the Russian world number 8 at the indoor hardcourt ATP 250 tournament is Hamad Mediadovic after the Serbian outlasted Germany's Daniel Altmaier 7-5, 6-7, 6-4. On the other side of the bracket, a local favourite and defending champion Ugo Humbert also marched into the semis with a 6-4, 6-4 win over Lorenzo Sonego of Italy. The Frenchman will face Belgian Zizo Bergs in other semi-final after China's Zhang Zhizhen retired from the match immediately after the first set ended 7-5 in Bergs' favour. Hundreds of Palestinian prisoners freed from Israeli prisons. The details when Nightline returns.
Bakat dan semangat menyuntik usaha untuk terus gemilang.
Saya bertanggungjawab untuk memastikan lengkap barangan-barangan yang diperlukan. Yang menariknya, setiap satu medal tu, setiap satu darjah tu dia tak sama dengan darjah yang lain.
Cara-cara buat kuih Cik Abbas demam. And then bolehlah kita hidangkan.
Keibubapaan ini bukan tentang mendidik anak-anak. Validasikan perasaan tersebut. Kalau anak-anak kita gembira, nyatakan.
10 lagu membawa rasa dalam nada. Sedakah anda untuk rasainya?
Rasa sedih ke? Macam awak, lagu tak tercalon AJL.
Ini rasa nak marah. Tapi untuk jadi juara, nada kena terangkat rasa. Itu nadanya. Rasa penonton terus demam.
Alamak, tapi kalau nak demam, biarlah demam. AJL 39, Nada Rasa.
Adik.
Saya macam ni lah, gaut ni. Tak ada orang nak berkawan ke apa. Jagalah Umi ke pakcik yang ada ke. Jaga dua orang elok-elok. Kalau saya tak ada nanti ke apa.
Bila ayah dia dah tak ada ni, memang adik dia belikan makanan lah. Kadang-kadang pernah juga sampai malam tak makan tu. Itulah yang kita orang adik-adik yang dekat-dekat ni jenguk-jenguk dia selalu.
Welcome back. Palestinian group Hamas has released 3 more Israeli captives in the Gaza Strip on Saturday as the 6th such exchange pushed ahead following days of tense negotiations that threatened to undo the precarious ceasefire. With the handover, the number of captives released by Hamas has reached 25. Later, Hamas in a statement stressed how the release of the 6th batch of enemy prisoners confirms there is no way to free them except through negotiations and by adhering to the requirements of the ceasefire agreement. In return for the 3 captives, Israel has released 369 Palestinian prisoners who have been held in Israeli jails, most without any charges or convictions. It is the largest number of Palestinians to be freed since the beginning of the ceasefire. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun on Saturday vowed to punish the perpetrators of an attack on a UN peacekeeping convoy a day earlier that wounded the force's outgoing deputy commander. The UN interim force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, demanded an investigation after one of its vehicles was set on fire during the Friday night incident, wounding outgoing deputy force commander Chok Bahadur Dakal as he was returning home. It was reported that the Lebanese army had intervened, but not before the UN peacekeepers sustained injuries. In a statement, UNIFIL said that attacks on peacekeepers were a flagrant violation of international law and may amount to war crimes. In the meantime, the Lebanese army has pledged to take firm action against those behind the attack, and the Interior Minister has called an emergency meeting of the Central Internal Security Council. In the U.S., mudslides have blocked roads around Los Angeles after heavy rain pounded areas burned by last month's wildfires, sending denuded hillsides tumbling. Parts of Los Angeles got as much as 7 centimeters of rain in a day on Friday, leaving areas flooded and burn scars in Pacific Palisades and Altadena strewn with fire debris and rubble. The Pacific Coast Highway was also shuttered, with thick mud blocking the way. Meanwhile, in the Hollywood Hills, a large mudslide left around 8 inches of debris all over a main road. In Altadena, where thousands of buildings were destroyed by the fierce fires last month, a number of vehicles were stranded in debris that washed onto the streets. The damage came despite extensive preparations by local authorities, who had placed sandbags and concrete barriers in places thought to be at risk from the strongest storm of California's winter. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as the 9th Asian Winter Games officially came to a close on Friday, with athletes taking part in a parade of nations as they bid farewell to the cheering crowds. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching and stay safe.